the start of my prison journey, I really didn't know what was coming. And so I had to look for guidance or inspiration from leaders. And those of you who have read one of my earlier books, right, Earning Freedom, you probably know that it was Socrates that had the most influence on me at the very beginning. And then there were others. There was Nelson Mandela, there was Viktor Frankl, but I'll always remember the influence that Malcolm X had on me when I came across the autobiography of Malcolm X. Well, one of the things that we are doing right now is we're inviting members of our community to write to us and let us know what are the books that are having an influence on your life and on your adjustment. And we just put this message out to all of the people that are part of the Prison Professors community to send us their book reports. And we gave them a pretty simple format, the same format that I used while I was in prison. And that recommends people to describe why they're reading a certain book, to describe what they learned from reading a certain book, and to describe how this particular book will influence your prospects for success when you come home. If you're a justice impacted person and going into the prison system, reading is a really great way to recalibrate your life and give you hope and strength and confidence while you're going through a difficult period of time. We're really grateful to Jeff, who is the first person to have submitted a book report. One of the things that we're going to do with Jeff's book report is we are going to ask him to produce about 30 of them, or other people to produce about 30 more, so we can get 30 of them, and then publish it in one of these kinds of workbooks. These are our daily journals. So we'll always ask them to provide a takeaway of, some questions that others might use. And it's just one of the ways that we strive to help people in jail and prison figure out, how do I build a life of meaning and relevance and dignity, even while I'm going through what could be the most difficult time of my life. So what I'd like to do now is shift the mode of my camera so that I can start reading the document from a blog we published on our website. That's how we kind of start. So I just simply switch this camera right here. I click on our website at Prison Professors, and I find the blog section, which is right here. Go to the blog, and we will see that the most recent blog that I have here is the Malcolm X book report. I just click on that. Later today, my partner will spend some time to make a more beautiful video that includes the thumbnail for this as well. But let's go ahead and read what Jeff had to write about reading the Malcolm X book report. And so I'm going to scroll down, and he answers the question, why I read this book. Well, in the 3 months I have been incarcerated at the federal prison camp in Oxford, Wisconsin, I have read 14 books and several short stories. I have chosen to stay within a limited genre of nonfiction because I only want to read books that will expand my way of thinking and broaden my vocabulary. There have been 3 books that I have already read that mention the autobiography of Malcolm X. Michael Santos also mentions it in his daily journal workbook. At that point, even though I know very little about Malcolm X, I had to read his autobiography. I actually do love reading autobiographies because you are reading the words of the author as they would use them. It is as if they are sitting across from you at a dinner table telling you their life story. Malcolm X provided me with a unique voice that I am definitely not familiar with, so it was exciting to read about his life in this country from the 1920s to the 1960s. What I learned. I will never understand what it is like to be a black man in this country. I will certainly never understand what it was like to be a black man in this country during the 1920s through the 1950s, when civil rights seemed like a novel idea on paper, but far from ever seeming like a reality. As you read about Malcolm X's upbringing, you can certainly begin to see why he had such a dislike for the white man. It was when Malcolm X was sent to prison for 7 years that I really admired his discipline, work ethic, and drive. Malcolm X dropped out of school in the 7th grade, and while in prison during his early 20s, he became frustrated that his letters to his family and later to politicians and other people of influence were not writing him back. He realized his 2 main handicaps. 1, his writing was barely legible. 2, his vocabulary consisted of slang and profanity. And how Malcolm X solved these 2 problems was so inspiring. First, he would handwrite every page in the dictionary, which improved his handwriting, and then he would study each word he wrote along with the definition, which improved his vocabulary. The byproduct of improving his vocabulary led to reading more books, which furthered his education while in prison, which led to better speaking skills, which eventually allowed Malcolm X to travel all over the world, speaking at elite colleges and universities. At one such speaking engagement on a university campus, someone asked him, "What's your alma mater?" Malcolm X simply replied, "Books." Another huge takeaway was Malcolm X's view on prison, and I can only do it justice by quoting him directly. A prisoner has the time he can put to good use. I had put prison second to college as the best place to go if he needs to do some thinking. If he is motivated, in prison he can change his life. And Jeff writes, agreed. How reading this book will contribute to my success. A lot has changed since Malcolm X lived and since he was assassinated. Malcolm X completed a 180-degree turn in his views on the relationships between races and how they actually led to his assassination. One thing that has not changed for hundreds of years has been the power of change through reading books. Prior to coming to prison, I was a consistent reader, but it was for entertainment purposes only. Since arriving to prison 3 months ago, I have used books to grow as a human and to use this time wisely. Malcolm X proves your life could be on a completely different trajectory if you are motivated to do so. Especially at a federal prison camp like this one in Oxford, Wisconsin, there is a lot of downtime. Many guys choose to sleep and watch TV to pass the time. Just because I have a college degree and there is not any programs available to get a master's degree, that doesn't mean I cannot further my education in terms of personal finance, leadership, history, and etc. And just like Malcolm X, I plan on leaving prison on a forward trajectory and to be an important contributor to society. Now here's about me. My name is Jeff, and I was sentenced to serve 34 months in a federal prison camp in Oxford, Wisconsin, after committing a white-collar crime several years ago. Before self-surrendering on June the 6th, 2022, I promised my wife and family that I will exit prison a better husband, a better son, a better brother, a better Christian, and a better future employee, and overall a better member of society because I am going to better myself in 3 ways. 1, physically. Not just for vanity purposes, but a better operating body equals a better operating mind. 2, mentally. Reading books, stories, papers, and magazines that educate and elevate my mind and expand my vocabulary. 3, spiritually. For me, this means learning more from the Bible, but it can also mean whatever greater good you believe in. Shortly after surrendering and reading Michael Santos' book, Earning Freedom, Conquering a 45-Year Prison Term, it inspired me to want to help just one person who is possibly heading to prison, so I started emailing my family posts that my sister uses to post as a blog on reddit.com, which is called Letters from Federal Prison. I believe to date it has over 5,000 views and shares, plus there are 2 comments from people advising that the blog has helped them. This has motivated me to keep writing, which I have never done anything like this before, and I really want to help more people when I return to society next year. Thanks for letting me do this, and I hope this helps. Let me know if any changes are needed. Well, that is just really a phenomenal contribution that Jeff is making to the lives of thousands of people, and we're going to help him further his mission. And he is going to help us grow our nonprofit, Prison Professors. How is he going to do that? Well, we have a reach inside of jails and prisons. That's really my passion. You can't go through 26 years in prison and feel as though, and have all the blessings that have come my way, such as coming out of prison, being able to build businesses, being able to, I got married in prison. My wife is my partner, and she's my partner in this business and in my life, and she just helps me in so many ways. I have received so many blessings from so many people that I have a duty and a responsibility to go back into jails and prisons and help more people understand what do you need to do to prepare for a life of meaning and relevance and dignity. And I never ask anybody to do anything I didn't do. So I reach out and I say, hey guys, while you're in prison, why don't you help contribute to the Prison Professors program? While you're reading a book, write a book report. answer these 3 questions, and we will then compile them into a compilation of these types of books, and we will give credit to the individual who's doing it as well. So it will be a great asset for the individual when he's going to try and develop his mitigation pathway of showing what's he doing, how's he doing it, how's he building his life, and that generally can help him as he's striving to get a higher level of liberty at an earlier possible time. So we're really grateful to Jeff. We hope that you found some meaning in this book report on Malcolm X. It's a book that inspired me. It's a book that has inspired millions of people across America, not only in prison, but in other areas. And I'm just so grateful to see that Jeff found meaning in the same book. And we hope that you are finding meaning in this if you're inside of a jail or a prison. And we would invite you to do the same thing. If you have to send it to us in a digital format if you can, but if you just follow those guidelines and you send it to our team at Prison Professors, somebody is going to be able to find that book and get me the report. We will do our best to publish it on the website and include it in one of our journals. And that's one of the ways that we strive to be the change we want to see in the world. I am Michael Santos, and on behalf of our entire community at Prison Professors, I believe in you. Thanks.